It's my feel-good breakfast show.
It is, of course, your feel-good breakfast show. Now, I always want to sing this like R-E-S-P-E-C-T, find out what it means to me. Now, today, more than ever in South Africa, children are interacting with people of different races, religions and cultures. Now, classrooms are becoming more diverse in appearance and thought. And today, family therapist and registered social worker, our favorite, Kim Abrams, joined us in the lounge to talk about the importance of teaching your child respect. It is a very... It's one of those, like, is it you? Is it your child? Like, how do you influence that? So it's a very broad topic today to speak about, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's got so many spheres to it. You know, it's about owning who you are as a person, as a parent, and then being able to instill that in your child, who's also developing as their own person. So it's a very difficult one.
It's a two-way flow, because maybe it happens on a... Obviously, there's the space where we're trying to instill this or teach respect. I don't know if it's taught or if it's instilled. That's the big thing here. But it's also what it can mean for their future success, like any social skill, being able to respect your elders, being able to respect other cultures in a workspace, your boss, other opinions, all of these kind of tie into that. So in your mind, because this does become quite a personal thing, what is the value of respect?
So I think, you know, it's about who you are as a person. It's about your own morals and values that you hold within yourself. And it's about the ability to see yourself outside of who you are and take into account other people's experiences and who they are as individuals. So the value of it, you know, I think it's about developing empathy, you know, and being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes and being able to take on board constructive criticism without losing your temper. And it's such an easy thing to say, but it also makes you a bit more likable in terms of, you know, social settings where you do sometimes have to conform.
Also, it could make you more successful. When we look at the more successful people in life, they tend to be the more open-minded. Those that do work well with others know how to kind of, you know, make other people feel better about themselves, which, but these are all quite complex things, which I think adults still struggle with. How do you then instill that in a child?
So, you know, with children, I think the most important thing to understand is that they are learning. So sometimes, you know, being a parent is so much pressure. You know, you feel like you're putting so much time, energy, money into your child, and so we almost automatically want them to respect us. But it doesn't work like that, because they didn't ask to come here. They have to learn this value. So instilling it in your child is really about modeling this behavior to them and ultimately respecting them. So this is like often a difficult one for parents, because you're not undermining yourself as an authority figure by respecting your child, but they must, in order to understand the concept, they must be able to see you implement it and act it out.
Absolutely. Now, in your opinion, what would you say respect is, and what is characteristics of respect?
So respect, you know, definitely is being able to see someone else's opinions, being able to take on board constructive criticism. But, you know, how you instill it, it is about practice. It's learning patience. These are the characteristics. It's being someone who's patient, someone who's often honest about their feelings, but able to put it forward in a way that doesn't cause harm to the other person. And it's the same when you're parenting. When you're disciplining your child, it's about teaching them. It's not about punishing them. So this is often where you can bring your child on board, depending on their age, and help them to understand perhaps why their behaviour wasn't acceptable and what they could do differently. That's how children start to learn, oh, okay, there's someone else or something else outside of me that I need to take into account.
Is this a lifelong practice? Is it something we can start actively trying to instill in our children at an early age? Typically, when does a child start to develop a sense of respect?
You know, from about 3 or 4, you want your child to be able
So before that, they just disrespectful.
Well, before that, they're at a developmental age where it's all about them. They can't.
I'm changing your nappy. That's respect, okay?
You know, we can't demand it for them. So it's also about, you need to get to know your child as they're growing up. So a 2-year-old is not going to display respectful behavior because they're not in the developmental phase where they even know how to do it, because it's all about them. That's where they are at. But as they start to get to about primary school age, you know, that's when you want the child to have, it's about good manners. You know, it's about the child being able to say, I'm sorry, when they've done something and you've called them out on it. But it's also about the parent being able to say, I'm sorry, if you've done something that was quite punitive and in a punishing way, because this is about teaching your child. Because we often equate respect with putting fear into our child so that they respect us, and it doesn't work like that. Your child just ends up
And it's not, it's not just based on authority, but I really am picking up that empathy seems to be the key component here, the emotional component.
Absolutely.
Or perhaps you've got some great advice on how you have instilled respect in your child, or maybe what it means to you to be respected and how that's enhanced your relationship with your little one. You can share with us on our social media platforms. A little bit of a pop this morning. A pop of respect is what we are looking for. Just show me some respect, child. Respect me. Now, we are talking about the importance of instilling a sense of respect in our children, and how do we go about doing that? And we've got our family therapist and registered social worker, Kim Abrams, with us. And we've already, I think, honed in on the fact that respect is a sense of empathy, but it's quite a complex thing. So I'm going to put it to you in this way. Do we need our child to understand what respect is for them to start being respectful? At what stage should we have that conversation and be overt about it? Or should we just assume that they are going to pick up on our cues and kind of emulate the way that we are?
Okay, so
it's a difficult one.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, but with respect, this is about teaching. So don't take it for granted that they will just pick it up and it will come naturally, because this is a learned behavior. It's about, you know, empathy is sometimes also something we have to learn, and we can only often do that through having difficult experiences. So when it comes to your child, you know, it's about using their behavior and trying, especially if it's behavior that is not conforming to your discipline technique. So if they're throwing a tantrum, for example, so let's say your 2-year-old or 3-year-old is throwing a tantrum, and then it's about using that moment to teach them, okay, so if they were throwing a tantrum because they wanted something, how can you ask me for that toy in a nicer way? Let's just say they were demanding a toy. It's these little things that children start to understand, okay, I need to actually address people in a certain manner when I want something or when I have to ask for something. So that's a small example of doing it, but it does require a lot of patience as a parent, because it's practice all the time. And it's also about owning what you are bringing to the table as a parent, also how you interact with the child's other parent if they are, you know, involved, because your child is watching all of this.
We've had a comment come through that I want to quickly hone in on. Bradley Johansson, thank you so much. And he had this to say: teaching your children respect starts with you as an adult. Children are the greatest imitators. Nail on the head. Children do as we do and not what we say. So once you as an adult show respect to others, they will also follow. Hashtag respect others, their time and their belongings as the way you want to be respected. That's
lovely, and that's exactly what it is. It's about owning also what you're bringing to the table. You also have to have self-respect as a parent, you know, and as an individual, in order to know how to instill it into your child. So as long as you also feel firm and strong in your morals and values and what you want to bring your child up in, that helps you to help them to understand respect and what it means to value other people as well.
Now, we're speaking a lot about the respect, but also now I want to speak about the disrespect thereof, because I remember growing up, your parent would give you that look like, luister, kind, like, no,
cross the line,
you know what I mean? So then how do you then, like, reprimand or then teach, or, you know, just like reprimand them if they are disrespectful?
Yeah, so the most important thing is try to keep your cool, because the minute you start escalating the situation with your child and shouting back, they just end up watching you, you know, and then they start learning, okay, I'm a bit scared. And so disrespectful behaviour must always be addressed. That's not to say that if you teach your child how to be respectful, it's going to be smooth sailing. It's not. This is going to be ongoing until they reach adulthood.
I mean, even we as adults sometimes battle to be respectful.
Absolutely, absolutely. So this, in terms of helping them to understand better ways to cope, it's also helping them to understand how to express their feelings, how to ask for what it is that they need. So if I feel sad, then perhaps I need a hug. So it's about taking the child's behavior and reflecting it back to them. So, you know, it's okay to say to your child if they're being disrespectful to you, that's not how we work in this family. In this family, we all respect each other, and that means talking to each other nicely and asking for things nicely. But it starts from when the child is young, because it gets harder the older they get, because they have a lot more outside influences from school and from peers. So it's about starting as early as possible.
Well, the joy of it is the child below the age of 6 has 60% more of its brain and its neurons to use as well. So don't respect that. Respect that the fact that your child can do a huge amount, that they can learn. Lay that framework. But I think the best part about this conversation is you are creating an emotional being, a more stable emotional being, which is what we all want for our children.